part 2 of the Freaky Guy Productions Christmas special, titled Warm Fuzzy Reception. You know, Christmas is one of those holidays that can go either way. It's either everybody's happy and celebrating and having a good time, or, as Kate Beringer said it,
while everybody else is opening up their presents, they're opening up their wrists.
Cheery thought.
It's true. The suicide rate's always the highest around the holidays.
But hopefully, whatever Christmas means to you, you can always count on some warm fuzzies on television. Yes, in this part of the Christmas special, I am going to be discussing and ranking my favorite Christmas media. So this might turn out to be a long video, so let's not dilly-dally. I just realized this is probably like the 4th time in my life that I've used dilly-dally. Now the rankings on this list are based on what I watched the most as a kid and what I got the most enjoyment out of as a kid. And therefore, do not be offended if one of your favorites does not make the list. So let's talk animated films and specials. At number 5, I have A Chipmunk Christmas. One of my favorite things about this one is that it took place during my favorite era of the animated series. I also like that you get to see Alvin going from selfish to not so selfish by the end. I also think that this special might be where the Chipmunk Christmas song came from. Not 100% sure, don't quote me on that. If someone watching knows when the Chipmunk Christmas song was written, let me know in the comment section below. There's also this one scene where Theodore is holding a cookie, and it always made me hungry. I wanted that cookie. I still want that cookie. Theodore, give me that cookie. At number 4, I have one that you probably haven't heard about. It's Will Vinton's Claymation Christmas Celebration. Now, Will Vinton is one of the godfathers of claymation animation, and the man who brought us the California Raisins. You know, for the longest time, I thought that I Heard It Through the Grapevine was a California Raisins original, until my dad corrected me and told me that no, that's the Temptations. And the California Raisins are the Temptations. There are no singing raisins, unfortunately. If you have not seen this special, and you can manage to get your hands on it, it is on DVD, as I just showed you. It is 100% worth it. So unfortunately, I do not own a physical copy of number 3 on my list, which is A Walt Disney Christmas. A Walt Disney Christmas is a compilation of animated shorts, and my favorites on this compilation are Pluto's Christmas Tree and Donald's Snow Fight. There was just something really, really special about that golden era of Disney animation that I don't think they're going to be able to recapture, but fortunately, we still have the old cartoons to rewatch. At number 2 on my list is Mickey's Christmas Carol. Again, here we go with the Mickey and Friends. But what makes this one really special is that it's a retelling, of course, of Charles Dickens' Christmas Carol, which is, absolute classic. It's probably the most reinterpreted and retold story ever. Also,
there'll be scary ghost stories.
Ghost stories on Christmas always seemed a little weird to me, but if you ask me, the origins might come from Charles Dickens. And at number 1 on my list, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Everybody, no matter when you were born, has seen this special. Also, it could be said that this special contains the first and most subtle LGBT representation.
Hey, what do you say we both be independent together, huh?
You wouldn't mind my red nose?
Not if you don't mind me being a dentist.
It's a deal.
Come here, open your mouth.
Well, okay, I'm actually not so sure about the subtle part. Also, ever notice that Santa Claus is kind of a...
All out for elf practice! Well, let's get this over with. I have to go down and look over the new deer.
Okay, Santa. Now let's try out the new elf song I wrote. And remember, it's for Santa.
Santa knows who's good. Do the things you should.
Well, it needs work. I have to go. Not bad. Not bad at all.
For crying out loud!
Hey, buy us new.
Hey, Bob,
Right now.
stop calling me names!
Donner, you should be ashamed of yourself. What a pity. He had a nice takeoff, too.
Those poor elves. And now, in no particular order, the honorable mentions for this category. Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas Special, also known as Christmas at Pee-wee's Playhouse. This thing was so crazy and so random. They even snuck some jokes for the adults in there.
Well, aren't you going to say anything about my new hairdo?
Oh, wow, it's really Christmassy. What's that plant hanging off it?
It's mistletoe, Pee-wee. You're always supposed to kiss someone when they stand underneath the mistletoe. This way, I'm assured of hundreds and hundreds of kisses from everyone.
Stand over here.
Come over here.
Over here.
Come over here and give us a big wet kiss.
Oh, excuse me, Mr. Vaughn, but before you go make it out with everyone in the Playhouse, how about forking over the gift?
Here you go, Pee-wee.
Hey, Missy Vaughn, come stand over me.
Coming, Flory, darling.
The list of guest stars was just absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we had Little Richard, Oprah Winfrey, Joan Rivers, Whoopi Goldberg, Charo, I don't think anyone even remembers who that is, Magic Johnson, Grace Jones, Katie Lang, Frankie Avalon, Zsa Zsa Gabor, and some group called the Del Rubio Triplets. I don't know what that is. As I recall, it was 3 old ladies in a very short dress. My next honorable mention, I already know is going to piss a lot of people off. And yes, it is A Charlie Brown Christmas. Now, to explain why this one wasn't any higher on my list, I always found the plot and the animation a little bit lazy. The last one on my honorable mentions for this category was one that I was just introduced to last year. Considering it's been around since 1968, there's really no excuse for that. But that cartoon is Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. It's not something I grew up with, but I can see why it's such a classic and why so many people love it. And it's way better than that piece of shit starring Jim Carrey. Now for the movies, I have 2 categories. I have movies that I grew up with and movies I was introduced to later. So let's kick it off with number 5. A Christmas Story. I mean, leg lamp, pink bunny suit, tongue on pole, a guy that snaps and goes ham on one of his bullies. A scene that today could be seen as quite racist.
Deck the hall with boughs of ivy. Ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. 'Tis the season to be jolly.
No. Not ra 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 la 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 la. Sing like this. Deck the halls with boughs of holly. Fa la 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 la. Try again.
Deck the hall with boughs of holly. Ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra-ra. 'Tis the season.
Stop. Sing something else.
Jingle bell, jingle all the way.
I mean, this movie has everything. Okay, well, maybe not everything, but they've packed a lot into one movie. At number 4 on my list, I have A Miracle on 34th Street, specifically the 1947 version. I have an appreciation for both versions, but I mean, I usually tend to gravitate towards the originals because it was the first time that story was ever told. And I find that the fact that it's in black and white gives it extra charm, although it really wasn't a creative choice. It was just all they had at the time. At number 3, we have something that you've probably never seen and probably never heard of, and that is I Believe in Santa Claus. Now, since you've probably never seen this, I'm just going to give you a little rundown here. There's this little boy whose parents have been kidnapped by African terrorists. Oh yeah, no need to check your ears. You heard right. This little boy and one of his friends goes on a journey to see Santa Claus and ask him if he can bring his parents back. On his journey, he encounters a child-eating ogre, again, you heard right, who kidnaps them and threatens to eat them. Anyways, there's a whole thing with a hot fairy that wears a red dress in the snow, and there's this thing about Santa Claus almost being attacked by an alligator, and then eventually they get the parents back. Now, if you feel like I just spoiled the movie for you, just in case you were curious about it, I didn't. There is so much more to experience in this. And this was one of my first crushes. Can you blame me? Next on the list at number 2, Gremlins. I mean, what more is there to say? It's Gremlins. You got this cute little creature called a mogwai, and he multiplies and then creates more mogwais, and then these mogwais eat after midnight, and then they become these monsters, and it's just super cute and super terrifying and super awesome all at the same time. And now, for number 1, we have, and some of you might see this one coming, so go ahead and shout it, Home Alone! What I have here is a box set that has the first 4 Home Alone movies. But, to be honest, I only ever watch these 2. Of the 2, I would have to say Home Alone 1 is my favorite. Because I feel as though a lot of the plot points of the first one were just rehashed in the second one. And now, the honorable mentions for this category, the Santa Claus. I love how they played with the idea that the title Santa Claus is just a mantle that's passed from person to person to person, which explains why Santa Claus has been around for so long. I also love that Tim Allen plays Santa Claus. These next 2 honorable mentions I do not have a physical copy of, but they are Scrooged and Prancer. Scrooged is, yet again, another modern retelling of A Christmas Carol starring Bill Murray. The whole movie is a dark, funny, zany ride. I highly suggest you watch it if you haven't done so yet. And the last one in the honorable mentions is A Nightmare Before Christmas. Really, the main reason why it's an honorable mention is because it's a lot more Halloween than it is Christmas. And now for the movies I was introduced to later in life. All the way at number 5, we have 8 Crazy Nights. Don't get me wrong, this is a great musical animated movie, and one of the best things that Adam Sandler has created. However, it is much more of a Hanukkah movie than it is a Christmas movie. At number 4, we have Alvin and the Chipmunks. I find the first one really is a fun classic, and what makes the movie what it is the performances by Jason Lee and David Cross. They have a certain rivalry chemistry throughout the movie that you just want to see more of. At number 3, we have Elf. It really is one of my favorite Will Ferrell movies, and I absolutely love that they drop hints throughout the movie that the movie takes place in the same universe as Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I mean, it's right there on the cover. Look at this outfit. Where have you seen that before?
Come here, open your mouth.
At number 2, I have a movie that I think everyone should check out, and that is Disney's A Christmas Carol by Robert Zemeckis, starring Jim Carrey. This one's great for anyone who has not read Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol and wants a movie that is as book accurate as possible. In fact, if you grew up in the 90s, there are times where you will have to ask yourself, is this really a Disney movie? Because this version of A Christmas Carol can be genuinely terrifying as However, that is how the story was meant to be told. It was meant to be a heartwarming but scary story. And now, for the number 1 movie that I was introduced to later in life. The Polar Express. Again, this is another Robert Zemeckis Christmas movie, and the animation looks great even though a little bit dated now, but this movie is the most Christmas that any other movie has ever been. It's literally like Christmas threw up on a film reel. Well, maybe not on a film reel, but on someone's computer, because this thing's computer animated as well. Now, there is only one honorable mention in this category, and it is Die Hard. Believe it or not, I only saw Die Hard for the first time last week. So now let's discuss what's not going to be a ranking because it's impossible for me to rank music, but a list of songs that I feel you absolutely must include on a Christmas playlist. A lot of you may be tired of hearing this one, but it's All I Want for Christmas Is You by Mariah Carey. Christmas, Baby Please Come Home by Darlene Love. Now, the reason why I absolutely must include this one on any Christmas playlist probably has a lot to do with the fact that it is the first song you hear in the movie Gremlins. Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms. Now, for this one, it doesn't hurt that it brings to mind that scene from Mean Girls. Just gonna leave it at that. The Christmas song. No, not the one by the Chipmunks, but the Christmas song. Chestnuts Roasting on an Open Fire. My favorite version has to be the Bing Crosby version. And then there's Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas, the Frank Sinatra version. Well, this concludes part 2 of the Freaky Guy Productions Christmas special warm, fuzzy reception. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a like, give it a comment in the comment section below, share it on social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, whatever. And if you haven't done so yet, subscribe. Merry Christmas. Whoa, 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 whoa. I know you didn't just sit through the entire video and not give it a like and a comment in the comment section below. What do you want? You want some coal in your stocking? Do better.
Come here, open your mouth.
Oh,